Well, good afternoon, Mariners fans. We are very excited to have you with us here this afternoon for our summer camp catch-up. My name is Aaron Goldsmith. I am one of the Mariners broadcasters, and we are excited for today, and we are also incredibly excited for Friday when actual Mariners baseball begins. The 60-game sprint, which is the 2020 baseball season, will begin on Friday from Houston, Texas. Marco Gonzalez, for the second straight year, will be the Mariners' opening day starter, going up against reigning Cy Young Award winner Justin Verlander. We're thrilled for that to happen, for the fact that the baseball season is about to take shape. And that means that summer camp 2020 is almost over. In fact, tonight, as you can see on Root Sports and as you can listen to on the Mariners Radio Network, summer camp 2020 comes to a close. It is the final intra-squad game. Justice Sheffield will get the ball for one side, maybe the White Pants, and maybe the Gray Pants will have Justin Dunn starting for them. So for each of those guys, of course, their final tune-up until the regular season. So it'll be fun to watch Mariners baseball against a different team. I know all the players and the coaches and the staff certainly feel the same as well. So what this is here today for us to do is to talk to some newer members of the Mariners organization who were a part of that 60-man roster that were invited to Seattle to take part of Summer Camp 2020. We're going to kind of hear from them as to what it was like, because obviously this is a pretty unprecedented time all across the landscape of Major League Baseball. So I'll tell you now, and I might remind you as the course of this conversation goes on, we're going to go for about 30 minutes this afternoon. We encourage you to fire away inside that chat window. If you have any questions for the guys, if any questions pop up, maybe you have one already right now, go ahead and put it in there, and hopefully we'll be able to get to it at some point within the next 30 minutes. Well, we'll start with the grizzled veteran of this group. That's because he's played a year in pro ball, and that is Bellingham's own Austin Shenton, third baseman, who was a really great story when he was drafted by his hometown team last year, has spent a part of his season within the organization. Austin, this is our first time meeting. It's great to meet you, and we're so glad you can be a part of this today.
Yeah, it's great to meet you too, Aaron. I've listened to you for a number of years, so it's good to finally meet you.
Well, very nice, man. Well, we're glad you could be with us today. The other two guys, we've had a chance to meet a little bit in the same kind of online meeting platform. The first of the other two guys, a second-round draft pick from like 4 weeks ago or something, Zach DeLoach. Zach was drafted in the second round out of Texas A&M, had a fantastic summer last year on the Cape, won a Cape League batting title. Was magnificent in his roughly 20 games with Texas A&M this year before the season came to a close. Was propelled to a second-round pick by the Mariners. And, hey, forget all that stuff, man. You're engaged from the last time we talked. You've popped the question, man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, we're thrilled for you personally and professionally as well. Zach, man, it's been a pretty good month for you, for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the best months of my life. Everything just going in order and just seeing how it all kind of unfolded, and it was really special.
I can imagine, man. We're excited to learn more about that.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, we're eager to introduce to you the 6th overall pick from this year's draft. Of course, the Mariners' first pick in the draft, and that is right-handed starting pitcher from the University of Georgia, Emerson Hancock. Emerson, man, it's good to see you again. How are things?
Aaron, it's good to see you. Thank you for having us on. Things are going well. We're really cool to be up here and to be around the guys, and kind of looking forward to just chatting it up.
All right. So first of all, before we dive into summer camp and all this other stuff, I think some people have probably noticed some similarities and differences between the backdrops that you guys have right now. You're all kind of sharing the same bandwidth. You're all in the same hotel right now. Now, I got to say, I think Austin wins in the most aggressive and like James Bond-ish backdrop. So, Austin, congratulations. I mean, Emerson's Emerson's microwave is solid, but the not so original art behind you, Austin, I think takes the cake.
Yeah, I think we all have that artwork in our hotel room. I just decided to use it and utilize it.
Hey, I've sat there for my other Zoom meetings, so I'm with that.
So when I told you guys he's the veteran man, he knows what's going on. See, he's not messing around. Hey, first of all, Zach, since we're looking at you right now, let's just start with let's talk about your month, man. This has been like no month you will ever have the rest of your life. Take us through the emotions of you're a second round pick, you get engaged, and now you are playing every day in a big league ballpark with a ton of big leaguers who you've watched, I'm sure, a number of them for many years.
Yeah, so I mean, just the month of June, or I guess July, was just absolutely crazy. Just kind of going, through it all. I mean, obviously leading up to the draft, everything was kind of in the unknown for me as far as like just, obviously like you said, Aaron, where, my Cape Cod kind of propelled me to where I am now. And that really set the tone for, me getting drafted by the Mariners. And so all of that, all the draft stuff that kind of happened. I mean, I was, 4.5 months in the unknown. Not really knowing what to expect as far as the draft goes. And, obviously on draft day, there was a lot, getting a lot of calls, getting a lot of back and forth communication, and just hearing my name called in that second round is a dream come true, man. That was something that I was very emotional about. It was a great achievement. Obviously, I worked so hard to get to that moment, to finally be here is another, dream come true in itself. I mean, just not really knowing, all this stuff was going to happen, but, fast forward, start, the workouts and everything that I've been doing because I had no idea what was to happen. And so as soon as I got drafted, I was in communication with, a bunch of the scouting, Scott Hunter, and then a bunch of other guys kind of in the front office there. And literally, as soon as I got home from my medical stuff up here in Seattle, Jerry DePoto called me and he said I was going to big league spring training. And I thought, my brain almost just exploded. And it was insane. But, I had been, and then, going on to the engagement part, I had been planning to kind of get engaged around kind of early July. But just how everything worked out, he's like, hey, you got to pack your bags for 2 months. You're coming out here to Seattle. And, at that time, my mind was focused on like, okay, I'm going to big league summer training now, big league summer training. And, I was going to be there for 2.5, 3 months. And so, at the same time though, I was like, shoot, like I had been shopping for rings. I'd been looking at rings, and there was just a lot of uncertainty with that. So I called my jeweler and I was like, hey man, is there something, because the ring wasn't supposed to be ready for 7 to 10 days after I'd placed the orders. Like, hey, is there any way that I can get that ring done or get a temporary band on it for the time being and just send it back? And sorry about that. Can y'all see me?
Was that your junior prom picture right there? Is that?
No, no. I don't know what that was, but my dad had just called me, so I'm sorry about that. I had to press that decline button. No, but so in the story, or in summary, we've rushed the order to get done with the temporary band. I actually had an upgraded band put on that, but I was able to get it that day in the afternoon. I had to lie to my fiance about where me and my dad were going. I think we said we were going to hit or something like that. And so we went to go pick the ring up and brought it back. And then later that night I proposed with it. So it was a very special night. All of her family was able to come up to Dallas. She's from Waco. So we were able to have a little surprise engagement party after that. And literally that next day, well, not even 24 hours after being engaged, I had to leave.
Man.
Come here to Seattle. So yeah.
What a story, man.
That's all in summary.
Yeah, what a few crazy but incredible weeks for you. Congratulations on all that, man. Thank you for sharing some of those details. That's terrific.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Emerson, I haven't talked to you since you've reported to summer camp, and I'm eager to talk to you about this kind of like viral video that went around the Twitter sphere of you on the mound at T-Mobile Park, and what looked like, and to correct me if I'm wrong, for the first time, and you were just kind of what looked like going through some like visualization drills. You were just kind of picturing what it would be like on the mound, like some shadow pitching. I'm curious, like, what was that like for you the first time that you stepped foot on the T-Mobile Park mound?
It was awesome. I had kind of been talking with the pitching coordinator about just kind of visualization work and how I'd used it at Georgia. And he said, well, why don't you get dressed and, let's do it tomorrow morning. So I was like, of course, like, let me throw the jersey on, and just to go out there to just kind of be in your own little world for a second, to throw a couple pitches. And it was cool just to have the backdrop. Every day I walk in there, I'm like a little kid, just being in that stadium to be a part of that. It's just something that was really cool. And yeah, I had no idea anybody was even watching. I had no idea, but kind of saw it on Twitter, and I was like, all right, that's pretty cool.
Emerson, you've already learned in the big leagues, somebody is always watching. They're always watching. Well, it was great. What's been kind of your biggest takeaway so far? Just the other day, you're taking 6th overall in the country, and now you're in a big league clubhouse. What's that transition been like for you?
It's been really good. I think for me, it's just all about observing and learning and really taking advantage of the opportunity that we have. You get a chance to watch a couple guys throw, to watch their bullpens, to watch their different routines. I think that's what's really been big for all three of us, just to be around those guys and to learn, because ultimately that's going to help us. So that's my biggest takeaway, is just to just watch them work and just really just kind of sit back and kind of enjoy it.
Absolutely, man. Well, it's so cool that you are now in Seattle, and you will be such a part of the I don't know, what do we call it, the Tacoma team, Team Tacoma, getting some good work in over the next 60 plus days, 7 weeks or so. Hey, Austin, this is like the total dream come true, right, man? You are like a Seattle area guy, grew up watching the Mariners. You get drafted by the Mariners. The Mariners, who have had probably the greatest position stability over the last 8 or so years at your position, right? At third base with Kyle Seager. And now you are, in essence, sharing a clubhouse with him at the ballpark that you've watched games in your entire life. Austin, what has this been like for you?
Just like Emerson said, it's been a dream come true. I never would have imagined or envisioned, this kind of unfolding. Like, if we look back, 6 months ago, like how this all unfolded and came to fruition. Like, I actually got the call from Jerry, and the number came up, and I thought it was a spam call because I didn't have his number saved. And I'm like, okay, like, who is this? And like, just coincidentally, I swiped and I answered the phone, and then I was like, hello. And he's like, Jerry DePoto. And I'm like, oh goodness. I'm going to summer camp with all those guys. And then, I don't know, just seeing those guys roll into the ballpark and seeing them go about their business every day. It's really a privilege and something that I, like I said, could never have envisioned. But, I've grown up a Mariners fan my entire life. I've, watched games while in Miami at FIU, and it's kind of been a rough go for the last 10 plus years. So hopefully we can turn that around, and it's just an honor to be a part of it.
Austin, have you saved his number now?
Yeah. No, I saved his number. I never got a call from him or anything. So yeah, that was the first thing I did after I got off the phone call. That, and then I called my mom and dad.
That's probably a good move, man. Very good move. What's it like when you compare coming to the ballpark and sitting in section 216, right? Compared to coming to the ballpark and you're saying to yourself, like, oh, like right now, this is my place of work. And hopefully one day this is every day my place of work. That's got to be completely surreal.
Surreal is one word to definitely categorize it. It was, I don't know, the first day I rolled into the ballpark, and then just, getting into the clubhouse, meeting the guys, going and eating, lunch in the Diamond Club, and then, walking out through that tunnel, out onto the field, and being able to like look from the other way, the other lens, it's kind of crazy, because I always tried to sit, when I came to games, I've always tried to get seats right behind the first base dugout, the home dugout, so I could be close to guys like Cano and King Felix and Nelly Cruz, like those guys, and just see them go about their business. And now I can watch Seager, take ground balls and just try to, take mental notes and try to kind of emulate what he's been doing. And he's been so successful, and it's awesome to be able to see that, 6+ feet away, so with social distancing, but it's been good.
Absolutely, man. That's inspiring stuff. That's a dream come true. That's awesome. We're going to get to our first viewer question. Austin, since we're with you, we'll stick with you. We know your favorite team, obviously, growing up, but Ben Day wants to know, tell me your favorite ball player or two growing up.
Growing up, I think it was Area 51. It was definitely Ichiro. That was the first guy I looked up to. And just, every year he was 200+ hits, and it was just, he was great. I mean, one of the greatest hitters of all time. And he was in Seattle, and he came over from Japan in 2001, won the Rookie of the Year, and then the MVP. And that was just, I mean, it was awesome, watching him play growing up. And then as I got older, I loved King Felix. I would get into a bunch of arguments about him not winning enough Cy Youngs and all this stuff. So yeah, King Felix and Ichiro definitely were my two favorite Mariners growing up.
Yeah, two of the Mount Rushmore for the Mariners for sure. Yeah. All right, Mr. Georgia, who were your favorite ball players growing up?
I kind of really loved watching Clayton Kershaw growing up. That's just kind of what it was for me. It's weird him being a left-handed pitcher, but I really took notice to how competitive he was, the fire that he brought to the mound, and then you kind of learn about what he does off the field with his wife and all the outreach stuff. But recently I've kind of transitioned to watching DeGrom pitch. As of right now, that is my guy, and he's unbelievable to watch. Everything's just so easy for him.
He is incredible. And that's one of the great things about interleague play. The Mariners were supposed to play the Mets this year, and I'm not going to say that it would have been a good thing to face DeGrom, but it would have been a lot of fun to watch DeGrom for those of us up in the booth who don't have to face him. All right, so we go from Georgia to Texas. We've got a former Texas Rangers fan with us, I'm sure. Zach,
yes.
who's your guy?
It was Josh Hamilton. Growing up, he just had that sweet left-handed swing that, I tried to emulate for so many years, just kind of growing up in youth baseball. And, but, I think, looking back on it, he just was a super talent. Like in his prime when he was going good, I mean, he was everything that I've heard about him has been, he was truly an 80 grade player to some extent in his career. And so, I had a fat head of him in my room. Yeah, I'm serious, man. I wish I would have had a picture of it, but yeah, I used to have a fat head of him in my room. And I think more recently, probably when I was around 14 or 15, I started paying attention to Bryce Harper when he made the cover of, I think it was Sports Illustrated as like a 16-year-old in high school. Just after he won that home run derby at Tropicana Field, I think, and for Tampa Bay, just watching him and watching the process that he's gone through, just that anomaly of a player, and watching just how he's been able to grow in the major leagues. I mean, he's been another impressive talent along with Mike Trout, obviously. So those three guys have kind of been the ones that I've looked up to and have stood out to me. So.
Yeah, those are all good ones. Absolutely. Hey, Colt 45-0. This is an interesting one. As tonight, as we mentioned, is the final game of Summer Camp 2020. They are curious, guys. The MVP from a pitcher set. So let's go this. Let's go Cy Young. Who wins the Cy Young of Summer Camp, and who wins the MVP of Summer Camp? So top pitcher, top position player. I don't want to call on somebody because I don't want to put somebody in a tough spot. So who's ready with an answer first?
I mean, I can do hitter. That's easy. Kyle Lewis.
Is that a unanimous MVP?
Emerson? Yeah, that's an easy one. That's an easy one.
He's been really good.
He's been unbelievable.
Yeah. You said 4 homers in Summer Camp. I mean, come on.
Okay,
so unbelievable.
All right, so Emerson as a scout writes down 80 grade and just goes, yeah, really good. Yeah. I mean, was everybody, all three of you guys in the ballpark last night when he hit that opposite field dinger?
Emerson was.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I mean, Emerson, like that was, I mean, I know you've barely spent even like 10 minutes inside the ballpark, but like I can't remember a right-handed hitter go oppo like that, like midway up the lower bowl. I'm sure as a pitcher, you're looking at that just terrified and grateful that he's on your side.
Oh yeah, I've already seen him hit 2 or 3. I mean, he just makes it look that easy, and just the way he just plays, so athletic, and like you said, he's just got that power to opposite field, which is just crazy for a hitter to have.
Yeah, it's terrifying. We're pretty excited to see that for 60 games this year and then moving forward. All right, so unanimous MVP selection of Kyle Lewis. Do we have a Cy Young Award winner from Mariners summer camp?
I think I got one. I'll go ahead and say it. Now, I haven't faced anybody, but obviously, you know, it's different coming from a hitter's perspective. I've loved watching Kendall Graveman pitch. And he pitched really, really good yesterday, and even last week when he threw, he's just really good command, and he just got that really good poise and knows how to get guys out. That's what I've kind of taken notice of.
So I got one too, which is it could be a stretch, but has had a lot of success this camp, is Logan Gilbert. I've watched him. He's very, very consistent, and he's been able to blow the doors off some dudes. So he's got my vote.
All right. I mean, both solid votes. Obviously, Emerson's going with the hot stock and who we saw like 12 hours ago, which I respect. Yeah. I get that. You know, Zach's going with a former first-round pick. Austin, can you settle this at all?
I'll go someone. I think Taiwan's looked really good this summer camp as well. I think he's really just honed in on his game as far as being able to, you know, pitch and locate all of his pitches, and also Graveman as well. I think those two guys. But if I were to choose one, maybe Taiwan. He's been looking good.
I guess it's a good thing, a good problem to have if you've got three votes. That shows that things are going pretty well for the guys. So that's a good thing. Hey, I like this question coming in from Seahawks Centralized, who wants to know, guys, who has been each of your biggest role models during summer camp this year? So which guy have you looked up to and maybe learned the most from, either watching or conversations or what have you? Anybody have somebody come to mind right away?
Well, I've had a couple really good talks with Kyle Lewis, just about hitting and just staying within yourself, not trying to do too much and just being comfortable, you know, because, you know, he came in last year and, you know, really just took the league by storm. And, you know, he's continued to do that this summer camp, and just try to, you know, bend his ear and try to, you know, learn a little bit from him, just being a younger guy. And then also, you know, Kyle Seager, I've asked Kyle and D, I've asked a few, you know, I try to ask them questions about, you know, what it's like. And, you know, Kyle's really awesome, just like giving advice. And so is D. Those two guys are really good, you know, leaders and role models, because they've been around for so many years, and they've both been, you know, really successful throughout their careers.
Emerson, how about you, man?
I think for me, I remember Kendall Graveman kind of took me outside in the weight room one day after a bullpen, or after he threw a pin. He's like, "Hey, just stay around and watch these guys throw." Because I remember one day I threw my pin, went in and got a quick lift, and he's like, "Stick around and watch these guys throw. Watch what they do." And I mean, I kind of took his advice, just watching them, and it's amazing what you can learn. Just it's the little things. It's not the big things that they do. It's just the little things that separate people. And then one day I got a chance to overhear Kyle Seager talking about kind of his plan when he goes to the plate. And as a pitcher, I mean, that's crucial. That's huge to know, like, kind of what he's thinking. So that's been really cool for me.
You know, I'm curious to follow up on the comment that Kendall made to you. I mean, even though you have this status as the first round draft pick for the Mariners, you're still the new guy, right? I mean, you were taking college classes like a day ago. And so, I mean, for you to kind of get that invitation from Kendall, did that make you feel like, hey, I'm really a part of this thing, and they really want me in on this? Because I would imagine it could be kind of easy to be like, I'm the young guy. I've got no credentials here compared to these big leaguers. I'm just going to do my thing and get out of here.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're 100% right. You know, coming in, I wanted to get my work in, but also just watch and observe. And to have someone like that say, hey, you know, come in, you know, ask us questions, ask what we can do. I mean, that's been a huge, huge advantage and kind of a blessing to all three of us, as you can kind of say.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's really cool, Kendall. That's good to hear. Zach, what about you, man?
I've been able to ask a lot of questions to a lot of different people. So, I feel pretty comfortable with a lot of the dudes in the clubhouse, especially on the home side. The visitor side, I haven't really interacted with as much just because they're on that side. But definitely, I think the two guys that come to mind just because I've hit with them in a lot of like cage work and stuff is Patrick Wisdom and Austin Nola. Just kind of picking their brains. I know they're both older and have been around baseball, professional baseball, that is, for a long time, and just kind of picking their brain on, the kind of thing like approach, swing mechanics, all that stuff, and just kind of seeing what plays in pro baseball. But as far as like outfielders go, like, Austin said, Kyle Lewis, I've watched him the last couple of years after when he was playing college baseball and then got drafted and, has played his first couple of years in pro baseball. So I've been able to watch him, just like his swing mechanics, ask him kind of what he's been doing, just from a mental standpoint, because he's been red hot. So I was just picking his brain. I mean, that's what we're all about here, is just, learning and developing. And so I think and also getting the experience. I think those are the things that they've wanted us to do, and they've wanted us to kind of get acclimated with all the major league guys. And so that's been really important for us.
So we have just a couple of minutes left, guys. And I'm curious for each one of you to wrap this thing up. I mean, I think most fans understand to what lengths and extremes the Mariners are taking all the safety protocols. I mean, a number of you guys have mentioned social distancing a couple of times already, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, for example, I was noticing the other night during one of the inter-squad games, there was a mound visit, and Andy McKay was the home plate umpire that night behind the pitcher's mound. And as all the players were coming together up on the mound, Andy kind of put his arms out like this, kind of telling all the players, like, hey, you can't gather on the mound like you've done your entire life. Everybody's got to stay 6 feet apart. So using that as an example, like, what's been the one thing for each of you that during all these extreme protocols that the Mariners are gratefully going through to great lengths that you've been like, man, I can't believe I can't do fill in the blank anymore, or I can't do this like I used to anymore, big or small, because of everything that they're having to do to keep everybody safe?
I think mine is pretty small, but it's spitting. Like,
yeah, no,
like,
hey, seriously, like people don't
that's
realize how much you actually like when it's a habit to spit on the baseball field. It's such a bad habit to like break or to not do.
I've caught myself at least like 20 times out there. I'm like, no, like, okay, yeah. Can't do that. Like,
yeah, dude, it's oh my God.
That one's kind of weird, but it's definitely one of those that I've noticed probably the most, because the other ones, wearing a mask and, social distancing, that's kind of easy, but I don't know. The spitting's got me.
Yeah. I think for me, it's the high fives and the knucks. Like when guys come into the dugout, you want to like, like for instance, like Kyle Lewis, whenever he hit his homer, like I wanted to go up to him and like high five him or give him some bump. And dude, he, it was just like weird. Like you can't touch anyone. I mean, it's definitely different. And then being on the rail, you have to have a towel. You can't like be on there. Like you can't have your, you have to have a towel underneath you every time you get up on the rail of the dugout. So that's different. Then also just the social distancing in the dugout. Like there's places to sit, there's places not to sit. They're all equally spread out. And yeah, I think those are probably the biggest ones for me.
Emerson, are you a compulsive spitter like your two teammates here?
No, but for me as a pitcher, I've always had a habit of like going to my mouth in between pitches. And that's something, I mean, first bullpen I threw, it was like you did it one time and you're like, all right, I got to break this habit. And I have. Like, it's just something you just kind of got to mentally do. But I was just kind of part of like what I did as a pitcher. In between pitches, I always go blow into my hands, go to the mouth, do whatever. But I guess now you just got to adjust.
So have you used a like, are they allowing you to have a wet rag essentially? Is that right?
You can have one in your back pocket, I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure though. I'm not a pitcher.
Emerson, I'm curious from you on this, man. We were talking about this on air last night. because we were saying like, man, this would be a really bad year to have an epic performance as a pitcher, right? Like if you throw a no-hitter or a perfect game, like just the fact that there's nobody in the crowd, I mean, it'd be a real letdown. But Emerson, think about this for a second, man. Like what happens when a pitcher throws a no-hitter? All the players from the dugout rush out and jump on top of you, right? I mean, like if there's a no-hitter this year, guys, I mean, think about it. It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, think about the World Series champs.
Yeah, but no, that's different. We're a step ahead of you, Zach. It doesn't matter, man. It's over. Season's over. You're fine. Run amok. You know, it's okay.
It's the same principle though, where people are, you're celebrating on the mound, everyone's dogpiling. I mean, that's still, it's like no energy, no energy from the fan.
So like, just think about it. If there's a no hitter this year, another thing is in the dugout. Like, let's say Emerson's throwing a no through 8. Okay, takes them out in the 9th inning, and we got Austin and we got Zach in the dugout. Like one of you, if you guys are thinking ahead and you're saying, "Hey, I got to tell my teammates not to go dogpile this guy because it's against protocol," then Emerson gives up a knock, man. It's like you did this to him. Like you just jinxed him. You just ruined it. You ruined it trying to keep everybody safe and healthy.
Hey, I'm a big believer in superstition, so I would not say anything until he completed it. That's just me. I wouldn't say anything.
Austin, I assume you would not either, correct?
No, I wouldn't say anything. Just let him go do his thing, and we'd find a way to celebrate it. I don't know.
Okay, so Austin you just have blind faith that in the seconds between the final out and all the players reaching the mound, that it'll just sort itself out.
Yeah, it'll sort itself out. Hey, get away. Yeah, figure it out.
All right. I wanted to get a player's perspective on what is clearly a very realistic, hard-hitting thing that could actually happen this year. So, this is with free time, we had to figure this out. Guys, we've reached the bottom of the 9th and the 27th out. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us for a little bit this afternoon. It's been a treat to get to know all of you guys in this format, and I'm eager to the time where, I don't know, I can see you guys face-to-face at some point soon. So stay healthy, stay safe, keep doing your thing, and we're just so grateful that you were able to carve out some time and talk a little Mariners with us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. And for everybody watching, thank you so much for being a part of this today, this unprecedented summer camp catch-up. Tonight is the final game of summer camp 2020. It's a 6:10 first pitch. It sounds like it'll be a 9-inning game. Justice Sheffield, Justin Dunn will be up on the mounds, the 2 starting pitchers. Of course, travel day tomorrow to Houston. And then it all gets going for real come 6 o'clock on Friday with Marco Gonzalez against Justin Verlander in game 1 of 60 of the 2020 season. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, and go Mariners.